Right now, somewhere inside you, the last thing you ate is on a journey that will take it longer than a cross-country flight. A single bite of food is about to be ripped apart by acid soaked in enzymes, squeezed through tunnels longer than a bus, and sorted molecule by molecule, all without you lifting a finger or thinking a single thought. The trip will run for 1 to 3 days. It will pass through a tube so long that stretched out, it would be taller than a 4-story building. It will be guarded by a vat of acid strong enough to dissolve metal, and lined by a surface so vast it could carpet a tennis court, all folded up inside your belly. And the strangest part is, who is running the whole operation? Not your brain. Your gut has a mind of its own, a web of millions of nerve cells that drives the entire journey on autopilot, even while you sleep. There are also trillions of living creatures down there, and they are about to get fed. This is the secret voyage every meal takes, from your first bite to the very end. And it begins the instant the food touches your tongue. The journey starts before you even swallow, and your mouth is doing more work than you realize. The moment food lands on your tongue, your teeth begin tearing it into smaller and smaller pieces, but chewing is only half the job. Your saliva is not just water to make things slippery. It is loaded with a chemical called amylase, an enzyme that immediately begins breaking the starches in your food into sugars. You can actually taste this happen. Hold a piece of plain bread on your tongue for a minute, and it slowly turns sweet because the amylase is unlocking sugar from the starch right there in your mouth. Digestion has already begun. Your tongue then rolls the chewed, moistened food into a soft ball called a bolus and pushes it to the back of your throat to swallow. Now comes the part that will surprise you. You might assume the food simply falls down into your stomach by gravity. It does not. The moment you swallow, the muscular walls of your food pipe grab the bolus and squeeze it downward in a travelling wave, like a hand-milking toothpaste through a tube. This wave is called peristalsis. It is so powerful that you could swallow a mouthful of water while standing on your head, and it would still travel up into your stomach against gravity. Astronauts digest perfectly in zero gravity for the same reason. Your gut never needed gravity at all. It pushes the food along entirely with muscle, and the first stop is a churning chamber of acid. Your food now drops into the stomach, and this is where things get violent. Your stomach is a thick, muscular bag, and it has a brutal job. It releases a flood of gastric acid so strong, with a sourness close to battery acid, that it could eat through metal. This acid does 2 things at once. It chemically melts your food, and it kills almost any bacteria that hitched a ride in on it. Floating in that acid is an enzyme called pepsin, and pepsin is a protein wrecking machine. It attacks the proteins in your meal, the meat, the eggs, the beans, and snips their long chains into smaller fragments. Acid softens, pepsin shreds. Meanwhile, the muscular walls of your stomach squeeze and churn, mashing everything together like a slow, powerful washing machine. Over a few hours, your neat meal is pulverized into a thick, soupy liquid called chyme. This is also why your stomach growls. Those rumbles are not hunger itself. They are the sound of all that muscular churning. and the gases and liquids being squeezed through a mostly empty chamber. The noise gets louder when the stomach is empty because there is no food to muffle it. You might wonder why this acid does not simply digest your stomach itself. The answer is a clever trick. Your stomach lining coats itself in a thick layer of slippery mucus, a living shield that is constantly rebuilt, keeping the acid from ever touching the wall beneath. When that shield fails in a spot, the acid bites into the wall, and that is exactly what a stomach ulcer is. For now, though, the shield holds, the churning finishes, and your stomach squirts the soupy chyme, a little at a time, into the longest and most important stretch of the whole journey. Your food, now a sour soup, enters the small intestine, and despite its name, this is the giant of the story. Coiled up inside your belly, the small intestine is around 6 meters long, longer than most rooms in your house, and this is where the real breakdown and absorption happen. But the chyme arriving from the stomach is far too acidic and too raw to absorb yet. So 2 outside organs rush in to help. First, your liver and gallbladder squirt in a greenish-yellow fluid called bile. Bile does something fat cannot not do on its own. It breaks big globs of grease into tiny droplets, the way dish soap shatters oil in a pan. This is called emulsifying, and it makes fat possible to digest. Second, your pancreas floods the tube with a cocktail of powerful enzymes, and these are the master tools. There is an enzyme to dismantle carbohydrates, another to take apart proteins, and another to break down those emulsified fats. The pancreas also pours in a flood of baking soda-like fluid to neutralize the stomach acid, turning the harsh soup gentle enough to work in. In this stretch, your meal is finally taken apart all the way down to its smallest building blocks. Proteins become single amino acids. Starches become single sugars. Fats become fatty acids. Your sandwich no longer exists as food at all. It has been disassembled into a stream of pure molecules, ready to be pulled into your body. And to do that, the intestine has a trick that sounds impossible. Here is one of the most astonishing facts about your own body. The inside of your small intestine is not a smooth pipe. Its walls are crammed with millions of tiny finger-like bumps called villi, and each of those bumps is covered in even tinier bumps. It is wrinkles upon wrinkles upon wrinkles. Why all the folding? Surface area. To pull nutrients out of your food, the intestine needs as much contact area as possible. If you took all those folds and villi and spread them out flat, the inner surface of your gut would cover roughly the area of a tennis court. An entire tennis court of absorbing surface folded up inside your abdomen. As the molecule stream washes over this vast landscape, the nutrients are pulled across the gut wall and straight into tiny blood vessels waiting on the other side. The sugars and amino acids slip into your bloodstream. The fats take a separate route through a network of lymph channels before joining the blood. Each villus is a marvel in miniature. It waves gently in the passing soup to catch more nutrients. And it is so small that it is replaced every few days as it wears out. Your entire gut lining is rebuilt roughly every week, one of the fastest renewing surfaces in your whole body. This is the moment your meal stops being something inside a tube and finally becomes part of you. The energy from your breakfast is now in your blood on its way to your cells. But your body does not just dump these raw nutrients straight into circulation. Everything absorbed here is rushed first to a single organ that acts as the body's customs checkpoint, inspecting and processing every molecule before it is allowed to travel anywhere else. All the nutrient-rich blood leaving your intestine does not go straight to your heart. It is funneled first by a special vein directly into your liver. Your liver is the body's great processing hub, and nearly everything you absorb passes across its desk before going anywhere. It performs hundreds of jobs, but think of it as a sorting, storage, and security center all in one. When a flood of sugar arrives after a meal, your liver grabs the excess and locks it away in storage so your blood sugar does not spike too high. Later, between meals, it releases that sugar back out to keep you steady. It is your body's pantry, smoothing the feast and the famine. Your liver also takes the raw amino acids and reassembles them into the specific proteins your body needs, and it packages fats for storage or transport. And crucially, the liver is your detox department. Anything harmful that came in with your food, along with the natural toxic byproducts of digestion, is filtered and neutralized here before it can reach the rest of you. This is a big part of why alcohol and many medicines hit the liver so hard. It is the organ standing guard at the gate. The liver is so vital and so overworked that it is the only organ in your body that can fully regrow itself. Lose up to 2/3 of it, and the remaining piece can rebuild back to full size. Your body guards this checkpoint with a backup plan no other organ gets. Once your liver has sorted, stored, and cleaned everything, the truly useful nutrients are finally released into your general bloodstream, free to feed every cell in your body. The valuable part of your meal has arrived. But back in the gut, a large amount of leftover material is still traveling on toward a chamber teeming with life. By now, your body has extracted almost all the nutrients, but the journey is not over. What is left, mostly water, fiber, and indigestible scraps, moves into the large intestine, a wider tube that loops around the edges of your belly. And down here, you are not alone. Your large intestine is home to trillions of bacteria, a whole hidden ecosystem called your gut microbiome. There are more microbes living in your gut than you have cells in your entire body. Far from being invaders, most of them are essential partners. These bacteria feast on the fiber you cannot digest yourself, fermenting it. In return, they produce useful compounds your body absorbs, including certain vitamins like vitamin K and special facids that nourish your gut wall and calm inflammation. This fermentation also produces gas, which is simply the natural exhaust of trillions of bacteria eating their dinner. That is all a normal part of a healthy, working gut. The exact mix of species living down there is as unique to you as a fingerprint, shaped by what you eat, where you grew up, and even who you live with. Feed them plenty of fiber and the helpful species thrive. Feed them mostly sugar and processed food, and the balance can tip the other way. The large intestine has one more crucial task. It reclaims water. Remember all the fluid, saliva, acid, and bile your body poured into the journey? The large intestine soaks most of it back out of the leftover sludge, returning precious water to your body and leaving the waste behind to slowly firm up. Scientists now believe this bustling microbe colony talks constantly with your brain, influencing your mood, your immune system, and even your cravings. The last stretch of your gut is alive, and it is busier than you ever imagined. Now we reach the end of the journey, 1 to 3 days after that first bite. Whatever your body could not absorb, the dead bacteria, the leftover fiber, the spent cells from your gut lining, has been compacted and dried into solid waste, ready to be eliminated. The voyage that began with a single mouthful ends in the toilet. And think about what just happened, almost entirely, without your awareness. You chewed and swallowed, and then handed the entire operation over to your body. Acid baths, enzyme floods, a tennis court of absorption, a liver inspecting every molecule, trillions of bacteria, all of it ran on autopilot. That autopilot has a name. Your gut is wrapped in its own vast network of nerve cells. So many that scientists call it your second brain. It can run the entire digestive journey on its own, coordinating every squeeze and secretion, without ever asking your real brain for permission. This is why digestion carries on while you sleep, while you work, while you forget you even ate. From the sweet trick of saliva, through the acid storm of the stomach, across the tennis court of your intestine, past the watchful liver, into the living tunnel of your gut, your food is taken apart and woven into you. Every bite you take embarks on this same extraordinary voyage, turning a plate of food into the living, thinking body reading this right now. So the next time you finish a meal, remember that the work is just beginning. For the next day or two, a silent, brilliant machine inside you will tear that food down to molecules and rebuild it into muscle, blood, thought, and energy, asking nothing of you in return. You are quite literally built out of meals you have already forgotten. Every cell in you was once something on a plate, taken apart and put back together by the strange journey we just followed. If you want to know what happens when that supply runs dry, watch the one on how long you can survive without water, and the one on what really happens to your body the moment you start to panic. Your body is stranger and far more capable than you ever imagined. This was Doodle Anatomy.